In this video series, we go through a set of job descriptions and we look at some of the key terms. Like in this job description, the key term is API. Can you see this API right here? So we look at some of the key terms so you guys as technical recruiters finally know what do these terms mean. And right now I'm going to explain how a user can interact with an application server. It is precisely thanks to APIs. So, you know, these days, for example, having an application without the application being connected to a server, you know, somewhere in the cloud or in a data center, it is useless. You don't want to have an application, you don't want to have a smartphone without, you know, the connection to the internet. So these days it's all about the interconnectivity. Okay, so interconnectivity is a huge topic. And just looking at the phone itself, say you have a mail client, this application is completely useless without the connection to some application server. And the application server could be, say, Gmail, if you use Gmail. It could be Yahoo Mail for those few of you still using Yahoo Mail. It could be Hotmail application server. It could be a Facebook application server. It could be Instagram. You know, pretty much every company out there that has some application server, so the user can connect. Say we have a game. A game could be just enjoyed locally without the user being connected to a server, but still games connect frequently. First, they can send some usage data to the company. They can pull some new updates or upgrades for the user. They can download some new characters for the game, new levels. They can upload information about the user, or, you know, about his progression, etc., etc. Like there is an unlimited amount of combinations. So APIs are here to enable this interconnectivity, and not just among users and application servers, but also between the application servers themselves. So one application server can communicate with another application server thanks to an API. Okay, so let's look at what the API actually is. So APIs, the acronym API stands for Application Programming Interface. So say this is the interface. You have an application server, this is an interface. So a user can communicate with the application server through this interface. And again, here is another interface. And what is an interface? Interface, say it is something coded. It is something a developer needs to code. So it's a program. It's a computer program that allows this mobile application to, for example, pull data. So what could it be? I'm wondering how to explain it even better so you guys can visualize an interface. And the interface could be literally a set of attributes. So these 5 attributes that so say this is an API. Okay, and these are the attributes, and then there are some output attributes. So these are input attributes and these are output attributes. So similarly as going to a restaurant, you as a customer walk in and there is a waiter, and the waiter says, hey, what would you like to eat? And you say, so that's your input. You say, hey, I want soup, and I want chicken with rice, and I want some water, and I want tiramisu as a dessert. So these 4 parameters, these 4 attributes are your input for the service, for your order. And then a waiter comes back, after he or she processes it, it runs through kitchen processes or whatever, and then he output, hey, this is your output, and he brings it to you. As an API, the output is the response. So say, coming back to the example of an email client, you have an application here. So this is a Gmail. You want to load your emails to your phone. So there is a button. You say connect or download or refresh, and then your email, your password, and your, for example, IP address are sent in some little envelope, invisible envelope, sent to the server, and the server in this interface receives your email, your password, your IP address, your whatever else, and says, okay, this user is authorized, so I will return him his or her emails back, and the output are the emails. Okay, so the APIs you can see as a way that allows all this interconnectivity. So it processes something sent in an envelope like this email password. It connects on the application server with some other services, and then returns back some response. So the API is this interface, application programming interface. It needs to be coded by developers, and then it processes these requests. So an application programming interface could be, for example, in an internet banking. Say you have a mobile application again, and you have a application from your bank on your phone. As soon as you log in, you push login button, and then the data is sent from your phone to some API in a bank, and the API needs to recognize, oh, this is a user, this is Michael, the password is correct, I can query with the data, I can figure out what is his balance on his account, etc., etc., right? Based on what you actually want to do on the phone. Okay, so this is an API. I could show you some example, but for now I wanted to explain the concept of interactivity, so you even know why do we use the APIs. And in another video I will walk you through the API, what the code looks like for a very simple API, so you can see what is behind. What is this interface here? How a developer can actually code it? Because still what we see now is some red dot on some cloud, but still, what is the code behind? What does it look like? For now, keep in mind that it allows the interconnectivity, so different application servers can communicate or can communicate even with the database, because the database also has some API. Pretty much every backend system has some API. So it's all about interconnectivity these days. Users want to be connected. The application servers want to be connected with more application servers. All right, so if you guys have some more questions about APIs, please let me know. In this case, the company is looking for a senior API engineer. So as you can see, he or she will need to code these APIs, and it's even written here. The candidate must have a strong and continuously growing proficiency in API development focused on Node.js. So then the question is how this API could be developed. Well, it's a backend system, so it could be developed with PHP language, or it could be used Node.js language as it is written right here, or it could be written in Golang, or there are lots of backend languages. So keep in mind that an API is usually a backend thing. This is a front end. An API is on a backend in a data center on a server. Okay, what else? This includes actively participating in designing, developing, testing, and deploying APIs, which is obvious. This API right here and this API right here needs to be developed. Someone needs to test the functionality. Someone needs to code it properly, etc., etc. So this job description talks only about an API. software engineer, a senior engineer in this case. So it's a growing field, obviously, because every application uses APIs. Not everywhere they call it an API engineer. Usually it's also a backend engineer, a full stack developer, also codes APIs. All right, so with that, I'll wrap it up now. Please go ahead, ask me questions if it is still not clear, all right? And I also encourage you to share this video with your friends, with your colleagues, with other recruiters, so they can also become great at technical recruitment. With that, please go ahead and subscribe to get more videos like this one. Have a good day.